everybody. Today I am doing something a little different. I had a subscriber message me on Instagram asking about designing a Christmas tree, and since I have done this like a million times, I thought I would go through it. I already recorded this video. It was an hour and a half long, so we are going to condense because I get talking about Christmas trees and I ramble. So, right here I have a piece of paper. It is ivory. Don't be like, what color is that? It's ivory. I just, that's what we got to work with. I'm going to tell you a few things. They're going to pop right up here on screen, in theory, because I can't write things out for you. You will laugh at me, and I'll go back to middle school, and it'll be terrible. Number one, what is a designer tree? A designer tree is whatever you want it to be. It can either refer to a tree done by an interior designer, a tree done in a showroom to showcase a Christmas collection. It could be a tree in your house. But for this video, and I feel like for most instances when we're talking about it, it's one of those big, overdone Pinterest trees where you can't see the tree. There's just so much crap piled on it that it doesn't really matter what's underneath it. You just have like a mountain of crap in the shape of a tree. So, since that's the case, I would recommend here is that if you don't already have a tree, if you need a new tree, if you want to upgrade your tree, whatever, go to Walmart, specifically Walmart, buy however high of the tree you want, whether you want it white or flocked, whatever height you want, and get it unlit. Very controversial, I know. If you're going to put this much stuff on the tree, you're going to have to add lights to it. If you're going to have to add lights to an already lit tree, you might as well just light the whole thing yourself. That way you are in control of the type of light you're using, how many lights you're using, all that good stuff. I lit my tree after all the lights were dead, cut everything off, rewired it. Did not take a particularly long time. Looks great. And don't go buy whatever you do. I'm saying Walmart because that's where you're going to get the cheapest tree unless you can find one on sale somewhere else. Don't go buy the Balsam Hill tree. That's beautiful and looks like you just cut it down in the hills of Vermont, because you're going to put so much crap in there it doesn't matter. Get the cheapest tree. That's the size you want. That's the color you want. White or flock, go to Walmart. You want a color, you want anything like that, you're going to have to go online. That's going to raise your price a little bit. I like to see it in person to say, okay, that one has no character at all, I'll take it. And what else? You get a skinny tree, you can get like mine's like a medium tree, and then you get those ones that literally just look like upside down traffic cones. I prefer like the medium. I think mine's 40 inches. The skinny trees are like 30, mine's like 40 at the base, and the big ones are like 50. If you have 12-foot ceilings, please don't put a 7-foot tree in that space. It's going to look weird. Go at least 10. If you have 14-foot ceilings and you can get away with a 12 and you want to decorate a 12-foot tree, go for it. Just make sure that the tree is scaled appropriately with the room. And yeah, I think a designer tree is something that I have and you can have. Like, you can't have my tree. You can't go to my tree. You can't go to the store and buy the stuff to have my tree, because everything on my tree is in some facet homemade. Like, it's a lot of my stuff on the tree right now, which is decorated in the next room over. You're going to have to wait for that video. It's homemade. I think having a tree that's one of a kind gives you that, like, designer Pinterest over-the-top Christmas tree that you want. So, with all that said, I'm sure I'll come up with something else. Just trying to get this down into a nice, manageable chunk. I'm going to show you two Christmas trees. One is my tree from last year, which you've already seen, which hopefully there will be a picture somewhere, maybe. Maybe even a video of it. And one is my tree this year. It's just going to be how I kind of came about designing them. These are all cool grays. 3, 4, and 5. So I am not a great artist. Anybody surprised? You all are? Well, that's flattery. Flattery will get you everywhere. So let's pretend like this is our tree. Why is he drawn in gray? Because they have gray markers and I know they're juicy and good. This is a tree. It is 7. What is it? 7.5. 7.5. It's flocked. And it is rose gold. That's our theme. Themes are something I spent a lot of time on in the other video. Pretty much, you get your theme, you get your color palette, you work from there. Start with theme, start with the color palette, work out. Because I don't have a lot of money, ever, my goal for the tree last year, so this is 2019, my goal for the tree last year was that I needed something that made a big impact. Last year, it was like a 300-piece ornament garland. Most of it came from the Dollar Tree. It ended up costing me $33, and it made the biggest impact of anything I've ever done. It was insane. And there's a video on my channel where, you know, it's just kind of this thing in pieces, and each piece was like 18 inches. I had like 20 or something of them. All in rose gold, a little kind of silvery, warmish, a little pink. So I made these in sections. They started here, and this garland went all the way around the tree. It wrapped around, but it didn't actually wrap around. It ended because my tree goes in a corner. I'm not decorating the back. I don't care that the people can look through my curtains and see that the back of my tree is not decorated. So it'd wrap around like this, come back down. This would continue. Wrap around. And all these balls are basically the same. I'm just trying to, you know, get this on here. So we are doing quick sketches. Okay. And they had some, I started it like up at the top. So what this immediately did is that it added a lot of impact to the tree. And there were already lights on it. It looked the best it looked. It was freshly flocked. It had a brand new lights on it. I could have left it at this, and that was, I mean, it was really nice. My mom was like, just leave it like that. And I was like, Mom, don't be silly. Don't be daft, woman. So what this did, it gave the impact. It also took up all this space, all this space, all this space. I didn't have to worry about that at all. So I only had to worry about this little section up here, which this whole section ended up becoming part of the tree topper. So I'm really only decorating these two sections and this little section over here and a little bit at the bottom right there. So my tree topper was, what's it last year? It was a moose or something. Ant. It was a reindeer or something. It was like a deer head or something. And there was a big bow. And I'm not much for streamers, but there were a couple of them. And I think I had some sprays of floral stuff coming out of here. So that took up that. Now, all this was done in sections with the ornaments. So I came back with, what did I have? I have some, like, there were little snowy branches that just kind of went all up in here. Again, minimizing the space we have to decorate, because then it is far less daunting. And there was some things that kind of came out this way from the center of the tree. Again, more picks and stuff, and there were little bunches of lamb's ear, just tucked in, giving me a little bit of a sagey green color that matched one of the ornaments. And then what else do we have on that tray? I'm trying to remember now. I think after that I came in with my big ornaments. And these were either gold, rose gold, probably had one up here, I'm sure. Anything to take up this space. And we had, let me switch colors again. Whoa! It was violent. I had some big flowers. Is that even showing up? I had some big flowers that were on clearance last year at Hobby Lobby, and it was 2019. These big flowers, just kind of all over the place. I'm trying to remember what else I had, but I think everything else was just small ornaments that just kind of came in and filled everything else in. I just came back with a couple of, normal sized ornaments. And that was it. It wasn't a very expensive tree. The most expensive single piece was the ornament garland, which was the main event, so to say. So, that was a good tree. She served us well. We took her down. There's still pieces of it that I can see right now from where I'm sitting, of my big ornaments. So, let's go to this year. I liked the idea of the ornament garland. However, I am still trying to use it. It's in 2 giant bags that are just stuck to the living side of my wall in the living room. I put it in wreaths. I did this, I did that. It was not worth it to me in the end to have a giant rose gold garland that I can't use until I do a rose gold tree again, which I will probably never repeat because that's just not my style. So this year's tree, I wanted the same thing. I just didn't want to be left with 3 huge bags full of ornaments that I would have to shove in wreaths and swags and still have enough to do a tree. Again, I still have enough to do another tree if I wanted to. So, you have already seen me make the deco mesh garland. If you've seen it on Instagram, you know a little bit more about how it went into the tree. The video was last week, so you've seen it. There's some pictures in there of how long it is. It was 4 rolls of deco mesh, and I will be able to reuse most of that for wreaths. One of them, kind of frayy, not the greatest. Probably won't be reusing that one. But I did the same thing again. Let's pretend like this is just, because it kind of started up here, and then it came down, and I ended it. And over here, I came through and ended it. And as I put it in, I tucked it into the tree. And again, came through and ended it. Up here, there is not yet, but there will be, a big bow. So imagine our tree topper, big bow. All along here, there are smaller bows. Just bringing in more of the color. There are also giant candies. That we made out of the pool noodles They are just kind of in there. There's one like in here somewhere. So these are my big ornaments. So I've got my deco mesh garland, the bows, the big ornaments, and then I came in with some large candy ornaments that I got from Goodwill. They're pretty big. There's a couple of round ones. There's a couple of teardrops. I think that's like the most teardrops. And in addition to that, I made some clusters like the ornament cluster from last year, except I made them much smaller so they would be able to easily be worked on things, and they're red and silver. They're red and silver, so I think I'll be able to use them a little bit easier, and they are just kind of interspersed, kind of around in the same line. Everything for this year was just kind of centered around this deco mesh, which you can barely see now, so, you know, do with that what you will. So these are all red and silver and white. Okay. And then it was time, I'm just going to keep using this marker here, for me to bring in, because I'm trying to go from like the biggest to the smallest. Like the deco mesh and stuff had to go on first. The ribbons had to go on after that. Then my big peppermint sticks went in because those were my biggest ornaments. And then the Goodwill ornaments, and then the ornament clusters, kind of. So then I came back with, actually, I don't want to overdo this. I came back with my big like 4-inch. They're a clear red, so you can see right through them. They have some silver netting over them. Those are all over the place. There's a lot of those, like a lot. And what else do we have in there? I have some little bits of, it's kind of like a little snowy branch again. They're just kind of sticking out here and there, adding a little bit of a different texture. I also have some, this is just like, I'm just going off the deep end here with these colors. They're old-fashioned like reflector ornaments, you know, they kind of look like, that, except there's a couple of those. This one's just floating off the tree, I guess. These are again, and everything's in red, silver, or white. So those are kind of all over the place. And then with the remaining space, wherever I could fit one, I put a regulation size ornament in red, red and white, red and silver, silver, clear, clear red, metallic red, glitter red, all that. So anywhere there was room left on this tree, which was not a lot, we had ornaments just kind of all over the place. These are the ones that are actually hung. Nothing else is hung on this tree. Everything is just pushed in because the deco mesh was great to shove stuff into. The tree is grabby, so it's great to shove stuff into. And then over here we have a giant nutcracker that my friend Jessica bought me. It looks just like that. It's not at all terrifying. So this is 2020. All candy cane. It came out better than I thought it would. next year, I mean, if I, not next year, if I was to do this again, I would probably stick to, I used 4 different deco meshes, I would probably stick to one and just buy 4 rolls of it, just because I would buy one that I knew was super easy to work with, like the cheap stuff, very easy to work with. But, you know, look on Pinterest, look on Instagram. There are plenty of designer trees out there. You don't have to be a designer to make one. You know, you can do pretty much anything you want. Like these candy trees are super popular. I would love to do one, but they, as far as I can tell, are not very cheap to make, and the ornaments are not very easy to DIY. We've got our ribbons going all over the place. I'm not really living for that. And then, you know, our big ornaments. And I don't believe in like, oh, you got to put your big ornaments at the bottom and then get smaller when you get up. No, I'm going to put a big one right here. That's just what I do. We're going to have a bunch of random crap shooting out of here, and then a bunch of random crap here. Then, you know, your smaller ornaments. I mean, I see so much, like, it's so overdone, but if that's what you like, go for it. Yeah, see, we have our cupcakes and stuff. And if you feel like it helps you to sit down and sketch something out like this, even though it looks terrible, go for it. That's a cupcake. Did you know that? And then, you know, let's put some candy canes in here. Why not? So yeah, those are just some tips, some tricks. This one looks really good. So does this one. This one, 2021? No. We have something insane planned for next year. Oh, I don't have my ornament on the desk to show you. Oh well. You guys will be surprised. I'm going to be working on it all year. It is going to be a year-long project. It's going to be fantastic. So, to reiterate, buy a cheap tree that's appropriately scaled for your room. Light it yourself. If you buy it pre-lit, I would recommend, my tree has like 300 lights a foot, so mine's got like 2,000 on a 7-foot tree. You can barely see them, so I could probably use more. So that's a guide to go by. Green or flocked if you want a specialty color. Try At Home. They're good with, you know, like weird color trees. If you want like a pink tree or a black tree. Walmart usually has a black tree. I haven't seen it this year, but it also might just be my Walmart because of the Saints. I don't know. Online you can find a tree in fluorescent orange, metallic, bright up pink if you want, you know, something like that. So cheap tree, lots of lights, scaled appropriately for the room. Think of a theme, pick your colors, look on Pinterest. It's okay to look, it's okay to borrow. Don't copy somebody else's tree. That's just, But odds are, when you see those trees, you would either have to source all that stuff, and it would be very hard to source. Like, all my stuff came locally for both of these trees. I didn't order anything besides the Decomesh online, and I still think it would be hard to source. You know, this came from Hobby Lobby, this came from Michael's, this came from this place 3 years ago, this came from that place 4 years ago. I made this out of scratch, I pulled this out of thin air. So yeah, remember to have fun. You know, and it is just a Christmas tree. It's not like any of us plan our Christmas trees 2 or 3 years in advance. Or maybe you do. Maybe you may. Alright guys, I hope that helped. I'm sorry you had to look at a little bit of my handwriting. It was scary for both of us. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.